Cara, hi, hello, welcome to the Female Startup Club podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited too. I was saying to you just before we started recording that I'm really looking forward to this conversation because it's a little different from our usual e-commerce founder story, but highly relevant for so many people listening into the show who have small businesses and who are, also wanting what you provide in the world, especially me, myself. I want what you have. So I'd love to get you to just start by introducing yourself and telling us what your company is.
Okay, perfect. So my name's Cara Oppenheimer. I'm the co-founder of Goodbuy, and that's B-U-Y, not goodbye like the hand wave. So we created a Chrome browser extension that intercepts all your reflexive online consumption purchases. So any mega retailer that you're on Target, you're on Amazon, you're on Walmart, you're on Sephora, all these big name brands, our widget pops up and offers you the same product and oftentimes better from small businesses that align with your values. So all of our business, we have 183,000 businesses so far and growing in our database. And that includes about just under 20 million products, which is really exciting. So we have a lot that can pop up and inside of the tool. And then those are all along 15 different value sets. So we have business values, and then we have owner identities. And those business values are, sustainable businesses, vegan businesses, cruelty-free businesses, and so forth. I'm not going to go through them all here. You can go to our site to see them all. And then our owner identities, which include things like LGBTQIA plus owned, women owned, family owned, Black owned, AAPI owned. And one of the things I think we'll hit on as we, chat a little more was, as we started sort of pitching this idea, a lot of people were like, why don't you just start in one place? It's simpler. And Carrie and I, my co-founder, we just kept pushing back and saying, no, as a woman who wants to shop more consciously, who wants to, lean into multiple values at a time when possible, and when not, at least shop small, there's a intersectionality to all of those values, right? Like we as people in one moment want to make, as long as I'm getting the product I need, I might want to shop sustainably as possible in that moment, and women owned and AAPI owned if possible. And in another given moment, if I can't find that product in all those values, I'd love to shop them in one of them if possible. And so just like you and I were talking about before, for me, when we came up with this idea, it was really about finding the simplest way to intercept those really ingrained behaviors we have, right? Like we don't want to shame anybody for all the Amazon shopping. Like I do it still. There are still diapers I need. I've got 2 kids at home. There's lots of stuff I need, real time and quickly, but there's many things I shop for intentionally and many things, gifts that I shop for that I would just love to support small. But for a long time, small has meant walking into a store for someone, and it hasn't been brought into this century. Shopping small isn't just about local. Local is wonderful, and that's one of our values. But shopping small is about supporting, humans. The humans, as we say, humans behind the URLs. The humans that are like doing a happy dance when you buy a product. So, I can go on and on about this, but it hits home personally for me. I had family with small business. We can get into that in a second, but I really saw firsthand the struggles of the growth of massive e-commerce and the lack of individuality that was stripped from that. Like we go on Wayfair and you're like, I don't know who owns this. I don't know who's providing these materials. And there's just this facade. And so for us, Goodbuy, the tools that we create are all about visibility for small businesses, and that also align with your values, and that intersecting of all those values and meeting you in the moment of that product need. A lot of these marketplaces that exist, and I'm sure you've experienced them, are wonderful. There's Black-owned marketplaces, there are minority-owned marketplaces, there are sustainable marketplaces, but unless you're like an activist who's only wanting sustainable products, they tend to alienate people. And so for me, when we created this, while I always want to push people to those marketplaces, and our tool actually does that, I wanted to create something that took you in the moment of that behavior where you're saying, okay, I just need this thing. I know I want to get this gift. And then we introduce you to the same product. It could be a Hydro Flask, a simple water bottle you needed. And I'll share my story of that. It pops up, but you might also be presented with like a super cool women-owned brand that designs these new age water bottles. And you're like, rad, now I have something completely different. So anyway, long-winded answer to your question, but really passionate about finding those moments to provide, visibility for small businesses everywhere.
I just love this so much. And I'm sure everyone listening has been like, I want that, or I've needed that, or I've been looking for something like this to exist on the internet. And I'm also baffled that it just hadn't already existed in a great way. I obviously, to give everyone some context, somehow you popped up on my LinkedIn when you were launching. I was like, this is really cool. I immediately, added the Google Chrome thing to my, I don't know what the terminology here is, but I added the thing to my thing.
It doesn't matter. Yes.
And I was looking through it and I was like, it's so easy.
Yes. The Chrome extension.
It looks so great. It's just so just what we need. And yeah, I'm just so excited to dig into this. I think you touched on this a little bit in the beginning. When we talk about your founder startup story and the background of this, you seem to mention that you have some family who had small businesses and that's why it touches home for you. But do you want to tell us a little bit about what actually led to this idea coming into the world? How you decided to be you know what? We're going to make a Google Chrome extension. and we're going to solve this through Google Chrome extensions.
Okay, well, I'll walk you through it all. And to do that, I have to give you a little bit of context about my background. So I'm going to smush about 15, 17 years of my life into a couple minutes here. But I'm Canadian, born and raised. Yay to all the Canadians out there.
Yay to the Canadians.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Canada. Been a creative individual. That's my superpower. It's been my superpower my entire life. Redecorated my room every month. My dad was always, super creative with me as well. Very, Willy Wonka theme room and jewelry business when I was 9. And, it's inherent in my being to make myself feel good by using my creativity. And so really quickly, I learned that I needed to be doing something as a career that was extremely creative. And so found, luckily, my way through school and university in a program that was all about visual communications, advertising, design. I happened to create this little niche as experience design. I don't know if you've heard the term, but experience design is all about creating live experiences that that engage people. And the brand experience industry has existed a long time, but didn't really come into play until I was in university. It was becoming bigger and bigger and moving away from, the sort of Red Bull girl on the side of a car to really thoughtful campaigns with ROI and engagements and tours. And now we all know them because you see pop-up events and experiences. So I entered that world. I left Canada and decided I needed a job in LA, went down to LA, drove around with my mom with my portfolio to, I think, 55 agencies, most of which had some experiential work because that was just what I was so passionate about, and quickly got a job. That story could be a whole other podcast because it was pretty funny, but got a job and was sponsored on a visa pretty quickly with the company I started with. I was there 10 years. I worked my way up as a creative director. So large scale experiences for Intel, for Samsung, for Hyundai, a lot of automotive stuff in experiential. And then moved into another agency, another brand experience agency where I ran the creative team. And they had offices in New York, LA, which is where I was at the time, Atlanta, and San Francisco. So the past 6 years of my life was just being creative at an agency and working with brands like Porsche and Lego, all sorts of stuff. And my team was incredible. And all we did all day pretty much was think about incredible ideas and use creativity as a way to solve complex problems.
Sounds so fun.
It was super fun. It was super fun and stressful. I mean, the event industry is intense. You got one shot to get it right. And the team that still works there, it's they're incredible humans. And then one day I'm hoping we'll hire them again. So all that to say, I was constantly coming up with ideas, and sometimes felt like sitting in these boardrooms with a lot of men, to be frank, on the brand side, who are looking at these ideas that I tend to lean into, like solving complex societal dynamics with creativity, which is ultimately what Goodbuy is. So I was pitching that and just growing a little bit, like my ideas weren't getting like the light of day that I wanted them to. And so personally, I was feeling a little disconnected from my work, because I felt like I could do so much more, especially when it was on me and just myself. So even though I was running the creative department, I didn't feel like I had enough control or power to be able to make and affect those changes. And I just felt personally like intuition is everything for me, like I had a bigger purpose. And I was toying with a lot of entrepreneurial ideas with my co-founder, Carrie, who's a friend. And we were going back and forth, and I can get into that story later if you want, about how we met, which is fun. But we're moms of 2 children under 4 each. We live blocks away from each other. We met when we moved to Boise together, and she's like the most incredible human, and we're very different in a lot of ways and just complement each other. And so we've been toying. She's entrepreneurial as well. And while I was at my job, still talking about things. And we both had our babies, and my baby was not even a month old, my second baby. His name's Sydney. And I was breastfeeding him. Thank you. I was breastfeeding him at 4:15 a.m., I think it was, because we still have the texts. And a light bulb just went off. And I had this experience where I had just gotten back from traveling to Canada. Like I said, my parents owned a small business my whole life, a couple small businesses that did really well, but also had their ups and downs. You know, they shared with me struggles of people coming in and then price matching on Amazon, going back to buy it, you know, on bigger retailers. And so I saw a lot of those firsthand struggles. But when I visited them, you know, I saw that they were selling hydro flasks. And this sounds like a simple aha moment, but there's a big POP display, point of purchase display, and there's, you know, hydro flasks and water bottles that they're selling. And I just it hit me that there are thousands of retailers selling the same products that I had just bought hydro flask on Amazon. And I didn't need it the day after. I didn't. And I just bought it on Amazon, and it hit me. I was like, my purpose needs to be creating visibility for small businesses, because why all of these humans want this. They want to see these products that small businesses have. They would choose to purchase them, but they can't see them. And so that was literally what was going through my head that night when I woke up breastfeeding Sid, and he's sitting there and it's dark and every mom knows what this is like. And I'm like, is this a fever dream? What the hell is going on in my life? But it hit me, and I text Carrie and I said, oh my gosh. I said, I don't know if this is possible. I'm not a technical person. I said, but we need to create a browser extension like Honey, those of you who use it, that intercepts all of your, you know, reflexive consumption purchases and offers you the same products or better from small businesses aligned with your values. And that's still the pitch that we use. That was literally like, we have the text going up on a blog post we shared, and I sent it to her. Obviously, she was not awake then, but the funny part is she also had a baby, woke up like 45 minutes later. And I think the text said, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. It was just like, no one's doing this. She just kept going. She's like, this is the best idea ever. We're doing this. When you wake up, call me. And I'm getting chills talking about it now. And I'm hoping this business becomes as big as we hope it is, to create that visibility for small business, because there's something incredible about the realization that you can make a business and feel like an incredible founder while also like accomplishing something really good. And so that's obviously our hope for this business. So anyway, we text each other, and that's basically the end of the story. It was February of this year that I texted her that.
What? No.
February of this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was a lot
That's
of, and I'm sure people would love
fast.
to hear this. It's fast. So speed is the story of me as a human. Everybody here jokes. I talk a mile a minute, and I own it. I own it proudly. I talk a mile a minute, and I move really quickly. And so does Carrie. So we've got 2 children under 4. That was obviously a very difficult thing when we both, in a pandemic, were working, watching our children, but also working full-time jobs. We were both fortunate to have enough childcare to help us out. But we worked on this proposal evenings and during nap time. So she would come over and our husbands would get together in another house to watch the kids. And she'd come over and her kids would wake up while we were working on this deck and she'd throw candy in the room and close the door. Like, it's hilarious, our founder story. But we worked on the investor deck for about a month. And then called a friend of mine, because I just mentioned we're not technical co-founders, who started an incredible company. It's called Purpose Lab. They build tech for good. And other tech. And he just happens to be a good friend of mine. So we were lucky in that way. And I pitched him in our garage. I was hiding from my kids in our garage with our ugly deck that did not look anything like our current brand, and said, is this possible? Like, can we do this? And he, like, in his stoic way, in his like dry way, was like, we can do this. It's brilliant. Nobody's done it before. Let me get back to you with a proposal. And so, like, I wasn't even asking him to work on it. I was just asking him if it was possible. And so it's important to our journey, because we have had a lot of these moments where people are like, how is nobody doing this? You know, how is nobody using this technology in this way? And it's actually a really elegant, simple solve. It doesn't require a lot of tech, which is why we were able to scale so quickly. So we kept it really hush so nobody was able to copy us, you know, until we launched, and have taken hopefully the right steps to get us where we are. So we were fully funded. We'd fully funded in words, but not with money in the bank. In July, which is when I quit my job. We didn't actually start working until I believe it was mid-July, inside of an office together, Carrie and I. We launched the waitlist and brand as we began building the tech in October. So we had about 2 months, I think, before we did that. And then we launched the actual tool and full scale brand this literally 2.5 weeks ago. So it has been the fastest scaling. Like, we didn't imagine this. It's wild.
That is mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. How much money did you have to raise? Like, what's the cost to build a Chrome extension? And you can be vague, you can give a ballpark, fine. But like, where are we talking with something like this?
So, you know, for Carrie and I, it's tricky, because I think the cost to build the Chrome extension wasn't crazy. You know, we're talking like
tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands?
Hundreds of thousands. But like from the ground up, you know, and the way that we're doing it, the way that we're vetting businesses, like all that technology that we built into there, was not complex, but decently complicated. So it required some spend. The real thoughtfulness, which Carrie and I understand, is like, listen, if you're creating tech that is, it's not necessarily easy to replicate, but easier to replicate. This isn't like a patented thing that we're doing. We understood that building trust with our consumers is number one for us, being authentic and human and ourselves, and having people understand that, like, these are the owner identities we support. This is what we understand about them, that the team we're building encompasses those owner identities, that we are honoring our communities, but also listening and being able to say, like, shit, we got it wrong. You know, this is the space we're living in. We understand it. We are human. We are not here to save the world. We're here to try and create something that benefits humanity, and especially small businesses. So for us, to answer your question in the most long-winded way possible, we needed more money than that to actually build the brand, to think about like engaging people. We hired a social impact strategist. That was one of our first hires. You know, most brands wouldn't hire that until they're way down the road. But for us, the integrity of what we represent, the communities we represent, the causes we're trying to support, what we're trying to do, it was really important to us to bring in Sienna. So
what does that actually mean? Like, what does she do on a day-to-day basis, or what are her kind of like quarterly goals and targets that she's working towards?
Yeah, so we should have her on at some point, or have her on to chat. But low key, in the beginning, it's really about understanding our retail partners, because we're serving this community and we only know so much. You know, we've owned this small business. I've seen my parents' small business, and I'm firsthand the one to admit I need to have conversations to understand what small businesses deal with on the daily, how our tool can help them. And so for her right now, it's about building community with our various owner identities, small business owners, the complexities they deal with in their everyday lives, and then as well in how they bring their business to life and how we can create visibility for them. So for now, it is really about the retailer community. We're currently actually, for all your community out there, we are currently building an incredible advisory board for Goodbuy that is built of at least one individual who's a small business owner from every single one of our identities. And oftentimes they intersect identities. We have about half of the board seats committed. And it doesn't have a huge investment, but we are looking for founders from our owner identities to join that board to help us make this product and evolve this product in the best ways possible for the community. So she's really looking to build that as well. And so she's just started out with us. The other things, so our seed round, we're still obviously utilizing those seed funds, is in the just upwards of $1 million. I'm comfortable saying that. So we're not looking to raise again yet. We're in a comfortable place, but we've hired a couple key individuals, sort of a data analyst operations guy named Terry, our team, our culture is everything to us. I just have to say that. This is not just Carrie and I building this while we came up with the idea and, accelerated this from the beginning. We have the most incredible humans who are just so equally passionate about what we're doing. Our director of marketing, who came in from a local Boise company, also identifies with one of our owner identity values. And so we have a really, I feel like great, still not as comprehensive as we'd like, perspective though on the communities we're serving. And all of our team is just raring to go and super excited. So we needed that money to build a small enough team to build the brand trust, to get the tool up and running, and then to continue to evolve things at the pace that we're evolving them now, develop new tools. We've got so much coming down the pike. So, oh my gosh, yeah.
Gosh, I'm just so into it. This is amazing. How do you monetize something like this? Like, do you make a commission on the sale? Is it through advertising? Is it through partnerships? What's the monetization strategy on a Google Chrome extension? And even if you can share like other examples for other Chrome extensions, like maybe not similar. I guess Honey would be, maybe they would take, anyway, you go.
So they all kind of differ, but many are the same as what we're doing. So we are the biggest aha moment that Carrie and I had when we started building. We're like, okay, it's an extension and it pops up. And then we're like, okay, well, to get an investor, we need to monetize. Like we literally are working through this in a new way. This is not either of our backgrounds. So we very quickly realized that there are no values-based affiliate networks and databases in existence. So it's like a wild thought to think about in the era that we live in. So basically there's a bunch of affiliate networks out there, thousands of affiliate networks that serve a lot of big business, and you can join current affiliate networks as small business, but they aren't, in my experience, in my conversation with small business, they're not really serving small business owners. And so again,
what's an example? Because I'm just trying to like actually understand truly what you mean when you're saying affiliate network.
So let me explain how the affiliate network works. So, or at least how our business works. So when you sign up as a retailer or as a small business for Goodbuy and to be a part of the Goodbuy network, you are signing up to a community that is served up to consumers in a multitude of ways. So you take that network of retailers and we serve them up and deploy them in a multitude of ways. Right now, that way happens to be our browser extension. And so when you're searching, you're searching our database, our network of businesses, small businesses align with your values. And we can talk about the vetting structure and how we work through all those different values hereafter. But essentially when they pop up, and from a business model, monetization model that we talked about, this is how it works. They pop up. You've searched for, I'll start with an example. You search for heart-shaped sunglasses. I want heart-shaped sunglasses. And I'm on Target and I type them in there because that's just where I go and that's fine. And I look at Target and I'm not that happy with it. And oh, voila, Goodbuy pops up. And we've got a notification for 75 heart-shaped sunglasses from small businesses. Oftentimes you have that many. And you scroll through and you look at them and you're like, okay, that image looks rad. I want to kind of see. And this small business looks like it's women owned because you can see our little tag. You click on that business, you look at it and you say, that's awesome. Add to cart. Once that's added to cart and you purchase, You'll get a little applause that says, woohoo, you shopped a Goodbuy, isn't it feel good? And then our business will make that profit that they otherwise would not have made because our tool is creating that visibility for them to override the SEO of big business. And we take an affiliate commission. That's as simple as it is. We do not make money until our retailers and small businesses do, money that they otherwise would not have made because that person would not have seen them in a traditional search. So the idea is not to take away any business from anything they're doing already. It's to create more visibility, amplify their visibility so that the more people download our tool, the more consumers have access to that sort of override of SEO, and marketing budgets. So, we've all had this experience. You're looking for a couch and you're like, I'm seeing the same freaking 5 fucking businesses over and over and not the couch I want, and those businesses are great if that's what you want in that couch. But there are literally it's shocking when the tool comes up. We had an individual talk about, he went to go on Amazon to buy a simple armoire and was like, Goodbuy had the most insane experience for me because he bought a cheaper armoire, found 10 businesses with armoires he liked better, and then felt incredible about his purchase. And that's the moments that we're looking for. So from a monetization standpoint, because I tend to get all over the place and I'm really passionate about what we do, but from a monetization standpoint, strictly affiliate commission model. A business has to be in our network, to be served. And our affiliate network isn't actually up and running yet because we're so new. So right now, for transparency to everybody, we are non-revenue generating. And I'm totally comfortable saying that. So we are literally sending people to small businesses right now for free. And
now's the time to sign up.
Now's the time to sign up. Yeah, we've got, we've been live for 2 weeks. And with only 500 customers, because we've only had organic growth. We haven't done a lot of media or anything yet. We have 500, over 500, and we're at 550 downloads of the extension, which we're pretty proud of in 2 weeks.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I just sent it to my girlfriends.
Thank you. And 27,000 searches. So people who have decided to make the change and download are using this at an incredible rate. Really great purchasing rate already. And we've diverted, I think we're now at about $17,000 in 2 weeks to small businesses that otherwise would not have been seen. Literally, that revenue would not be in their accounts if it weren't for this override of, the SEO and the marketing budgets of big business. So
mind blowing. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's a small number right now, but we're super excited about it because when we can get those large numbers of consumers to download, yes, our business will eventually be more profitable from it. We're a business, but it's going to affect so much change for small business. And one thing I also want to make clear is I made a point earlier that I didn't close the loop on about small businesses feeling really siloed. And I know that from the conversations we've had that they build their own little communities and incredible humans. Nicole, the founder at Kinfield, has created this group of women founders and diverse founders who are sort of in communication with each other and trying to help each other with their business. But there's never been anything done at a large scale. So while Goodbuy is about this affiliate network and profitability for small business and visibility and all those things, it's also long-term about merging the power of all of these small businesses together to be able to compete with these big businesses. And I'm not saying to take over. We know that's not going to happen, but it's just to even it out, and I really truly feel, and Carrie and I truly feel that elevating the individuality, this radical inclusivity, that bringing all of these humans together, connecting them, sharing best practices. Why shouldn't a sustainable business be able to say, we're killing it in biodegradable packaging? Let's share our story with your whole network so that everyone can make the planet better. So for us, it's about we call it doing gooder, and supporting the humans behind the URLs. I love all these little taglines that we've created, but it's really important to us to erase the facade of a business being really raw, just facade, and bring the humans behind them forward.
So many good storytelling opportunities for you. I'm like, wow, I feel for you, you just have so many amazing content opportunities. Like whether it's from a newsletter, I can see that being really strong for you, whether it's a TikTok account, like introducing all of these small brands and telling those small stories, like, and you know, the impact of what you're doing. I can just see such great like content
We're hoping
pieces for this. This is amazing. I wanted to ask you, I mean, you've just launched, you're 2 weeks in. How does one get 183,000 brands on a platform? What is going on there? That's incredible.
Okay, so it is an incredible thing, and we are super stoked about it. And like I said to you, all of those businesses that are in our database, we are just sending them customers. So they're oftentimes seeing a new order for $120 and having to go back into their back end on Shopify. So I'll explain this in a second, on Shopify to see, oh, wow, what's goodbuy? And then they find us that way. And so right now, there are many actual retail partners that we have, some incredible small brands who we reached out to, who have found out about us, who are actively aware that they are part of our network. And the rest of those businesses are just being sent money. Free money, essentially, and free customers to bring awareness to our tool and to what we're doing. And so the way that we got to that is a little complicated. I can share some of it. Some of it is a little bit trade secret. So I'll do my best. If my co-founder was here, she'd be like nudging me because I'm a loose lip talker. So I'll watch myself and make sure that I don't overshare. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, every time Carrie and I have done an interview, I'm like, she does this thing with her hand and it's like, stop. But again, I'm a talker. So all of our businesses within our database are Shopify stores. That isn't because we want to alienate anybody on any other site. It is because Shopify provides a really clean opportunity for us to be able on the back end to scrape product inventory and to pull in that information more clearly. And with the money that we received for our start, it was enough to handle Shopify. It's also the largest, I think it's something like, I don't have my stats always correct. Again, something Carrie would nudge me for, but I think it's about 90% of small businesses are on Shopify. So it worked out for us that from a tech standpoint, it's the most, the most easy to integrate into what we were building. So essentially, we were able to use a mixture of third-party data, a lot of research, and a special tool that we've built to understand the scale of a business. So that is how we identify if a business is truly small. And we use, right now, we're using the Small Business Administration standards. So that is sort of a proprietary process that in how we bring in all those businesses and then be able to sort and decide, okay, these cannot be in our database. They are way too big. And then these obviously can be. And so we take any business size at the start and then all the way through to an employee size under 50. But the Small Business Administration standards are really about different categories. So I'm not going to pull open that document because it's really boring, but we ask businesses to self-identify and confirm legally that they identify within these categories to represent them as a small business. So, you know, it's generally, $6 million a year gross revenue and under. So a lot of people have this notion that small business is like local and mom and pop. And we're really trying to re-educate people and get them away from that, because while it can be, and it is mom and pop, small business is also so much bigger than that. There are so many people who, you hear that number of 6 million gross revenue. It's not that much when you spread it over the employees, when you spread it over. So, and that 6 million, just to be clear, is one of the standards. In each vertical, it's different. Jewelry is different. I'm sure you've had experience with this, but small business standards can range wildly. And so we use those financial revenue standards, but we don't use the employee standards, because after conversations we've had with many businesses, turnover, part-time employees, their standard of 25 employees or under is not really applicable. A lot of businesses are still very small and have more than 25 employees. And so those are the standards we use. So we use that kind of tool to bring in those businesses. And then we take that giant list, which is ultimately our 183,000 businesses, and we vet those businesses I can't like fully share exactly how we do it, but we do it very thoughtfully. We worked for months. That was the largest part of our, of our July into December launch, was confirming with 99% accuracy that the businesses we were identifying as sustainable, as vegan, as cruelty-free, as American-made, as women-owned, as family-owned, all had already self-identified in that way.
So they've gone through and actually like been like, yeah, okay, I know what goodbye is. I like confirm X, Y, and Z. Like, yes, I approve this kind of thing. That's massive.
So so just to clarify, they've either done that, yes. So we have hundreds of businesses who have done that, but the rest of them have self-identified inside of their own sites, their own Instagram channels. And so we are never making an assumption ever in our vetting structure. We know how detrimental that can be to various communities, specifically certain communities in the LGBTQIA, audience. We have very strict, and if Carrie was on, she would talk a lot about our security policies and the protecting of our communities. We have very strict data privacy embedded in what we're doing. People are self-identifying either within their application to Goodbuy, and long-term, that's what it will require as people begin to join our affiliate network, which is going to launch in February. As small businesses begin to actually, download our plugin and become a part of our affiliate network, they will go through a legal process in that of self-identifying. So it is all self-designation. But for now, the current businesses in there have self-identified in one or more places that they are actively, inside of their about pages, inside of their Instagram channels. And so a lot of businesses will come on and be like, oh, you don't have me tagged as women owned or Black owned. And like, I identify with this group. And I'm like, that's because we didn't want to get anything wrong. If you don't identify in that way currently, outwardly, publicly, you're not in our database that way. So you'll have to go through our system to validate that. So we wanted to be very thoughtful and careful about those. And then as far as our business values go, sustainable, we have, you can actually go to our Instagram page and our blog that will be up soon, which actually we have a different blog post on each of our values that talk about the criteria that we're currently using to evaluate businesses as sustainable, as vegan. And they're pretty strict. Most of these businesses need one or more certification that they're 100% of their products, fall into these categories.
I mean, so cool. That's incredible. I love it. I love it all. I'm conscious of the time, so I have one more question for you, and then we're going to dive into the 6 quick questions. What is your most important piece of advice for entrepreneurs coming into 2022?
It's probably not, as far as based on a year, 2022, whatever year it is. I think when people ask me this question, my personal feeling always relates to my experience coming out of corporate culture, making a really good salary, taking a leap of faith while I had children. And I'm in a fortunate, privileged situation that I could, take a leap of faith. So I want to honor that and say that out loud. But I think as a woman specifically, and your audience, largely women or women, female identifying, honoring your own intuition more than you usually do, I think would be my biggest piece of advice. I personally feel really excited that I made this change, that I thought for a long time, when I was coming up with entrepreneurial ideas, it was hard for me to leave something that was so comfortable, that provided so much for my family, that I loved. Like, I liked my old job a lot and I felt rewarded by it, but I always had this nagging feeling to do more. And I thought that I was fulfilled there, and I think it just changed for me the second I took this leap of faith. I'm making shit money now, being honest, because I'm putting it into my company, and I am not where I was as far as like, I'm scaling this, but the benefit of taking that leap of faith, like, I know people say it and I don't know how to get it into people's heads, but building something your own, if you're that type of person and you feel invigorated by new conversations and new communities and, and helping serve your community while also building a business, like, I feel so fucking fulfilled by the job I'm doing now. And sorry for the swearing, but I just feel like it's the only way to articulate it. that the money doesn't even matter anymore. And I know the challenges are there. And I know that's a privileged thing to say. I am so hyper aware of that. But it's a different level. It's just like they say, when you have kids, you never knew that you could feel that kind of love before, and you just don't know it till you know it. I feel that way about this business. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice. It's like, obviously, just don't leave your job without a plan, and don't, just take a leap of faith without like having some due diligence, in there. But for me, the best thing I ever did was just starting to go in and pitch to people and getting the reception for your own thinking in a way that was like so new was so fulfilling. And I just feel, and that fulfillment has become, I think, from Carrie and I both, infectious with our team. Like I don't want to lose this culture we have with the 8 of us that are here. Like, I want to hire everybody that's listening to this podcast that is just as passionate as we are. Like, I think me being so fulfilled and Carrie being so fulfilled has created this like new sense of purpose for all of the people working here. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice, is like trusting your intuition. Don't wait. Like, I left my career at 36, and I'm really happy I did it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. 6 quick questions, some of which we might have covered, some of which we might have to tweak because you're early on in this kind of launch phase. Question number 1, though, this is a good one. What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
I think for me, it's what we talked about at the beginning of this. Maybe I'll take it from a different vantage point. I love shopping. Like, this sounds silly and shallow, but like the core of my being is like, I'm on Instagram and I want to buy things, and I'm on trips, and my best memories on trips are walking into small businesses, whether it's in Southeast Asia or whether it's in San Francisco. And the interaction that you have with like a small business owner and feeling like you impacted their business and their lives, but then also having like an item that's meaningful with memories and that feels more intentional, is part of my purpose. Like, that feeling I have, I wanted it to be my job. I wanted it to feel like that for everybody. I want our mission at Goodbuy is, yes, it's about conscious shopping, but I always say, like, our mission is to make shopping feel good by making conscious shopping easy. It's not forefront conscious shopping. It's like, shopping feels like shit right now a lot of the time. You're either feeling gross because you bought a bunch of items on Instagram from an influencer that you aren't really using and they're sitting in your closet with the tag on, or you're just like, this is not quality. Or you're buying it on mega retailers too often and feeling gross about the lack of sustainability or the packages at your door. And so for me, it's just about feeling good. And like, I want to feel good in our work culture. I want more people to feel good about shopping. I want the small businesses to feel good about getting more visibility in purchases. I want them to feel good about like connecting with each other and building more communities. And so it's our mission as a company. It's my mission as a human to feel good. It's my mission for the culture here. And so that is my why. And shopping makes me feel good. Supporting, conscious behaviors makes me feel good. Helping the planet makes me feel good. And I think it does for others. So that's the why.
I'm with you. I love that. I'm all about that. That's a great answer. Question number 2, I'm going to tweak this one slightly. Have you had any cool marketing moments so far in the journey? Is there anything that stands out to you that's been like, oh, wow?
So like I said to you up front, I'm waiting for our like insane marketing moment. Maybe this is it. I'm waiting for an insane marketing moment. We're 2 weeks in. We didn't know we'd be able to launch so soon during the holiday season, during Hanukkah, during Christmas. We did not have a lot of time to spend on media, which I know a lot of the other founders by, not 2 weeks in, but 6 months in, have got some good stories there. So we are waiting on those big media hits. We're hoping to engage those media hits, post-holiday. To answer the question about currently, two answers. We've had insane organic growth just because of people like yourself who, once they actually download this thing, are like, whoa. Like, this is crazy. Like, this actually comes up and I am actually buying from businesses. Our conversion rate is really high. So, sorry, I should clarify. Once someone actually downloads the tool and starts shopping, we 11% of the time are diverting that purchase right now. That's crazy. So it's crazy and it's awesome. And we hope that eventually even goes up, but that's a crazy stat. The conversion to downloads is harder. So that's our biggest challenge, is getting people to say, oh, I'm going to put this on my Chrome browser, and it's so easy. And that's the thing I have to keep having to tell people. So organic growth through people sharing, through real people being like, oh my God, when they have that moment, like reaction shots, you like yourself, sending it to your friends, being like, do you know this existed? Is really, we've had a lot of growth, like naturally, and organically like that. So I'm really happy about it. And as far as, unique partnerships so far, we were connected early on with this incredible company called Trans Santa. And if your followers haven't followed them, they should. They support trans youth all over the US. Underprivileged trans youth, underrepresented trans youth share their stories. It's heart-wrenching. On their Instagram, they share letters and ask for gifts or monetary donations. And Trans Santa builds a registry that allows people like us to give to those individuals after we read their stories. It's just an incredible cause. And Kyle, who started Trans Santa, we got connected with them, and we basically created this partnership, and then ultimately got connected with Pop Sugar. And we built, us in conjunction with Trans Santa, built a list of 10 trans-owned businesses from our tool to support, with your gift giving, and ultimately created visibility for Trans Santa, for ourselves, for the trans businesses, the trans identifying businesses in our database. And it was a really great moment for us so far because it built community. The businesses were so excited to see themselves on Pop Sugar, and for people to be sharing that, and just such a good cause. So that's what our business is all about. So I'm hoping there's a lot more opportunities like that.
I love that. That's amazing. Congrats. Question number 3, where do you hang out to get smarter? What are you reading or listening to at the moment?
Okay, so I have 2 kids under 4. So spare time is non-existent. I think I got ready today with me holding them. As far as reading and listening to, I mentioned to you earlier, podcasts are my jam. So I'm like 10 minutes on the way. I live in Boise. It's really easy to get to work. My commute's about 4 minutes. So I listen in pieces, just to be honest. I listen in pieces a lot to podcasts. So how I built this is a big one. I mentioned to you earlier in a similar podcast to this, Second Life. Because I come from a corporate background of many, many years, that podcast is about transitioning out of corporate life into founder life. So it was huge for me in moving into this world. I'm now listening, to yours a ton because I have found so much value already. So plugging you here because it's amazing. As far as books are my escape. I'm a big nighttime reader to calm my mind down. So I'm not a big, reading books about business. I read a lot of books about other things. But I think the best way to answer this question is community for me. So my husband jokes that I can't be alone. I do not like being alone. And I say it with love because I am empowered, motivated, always learning by the people I'm surrounded by. The people we've hired have taught me more than in the last 3 months, I've learned so much from them. Our investors are incredible partners to us, learn so much from them. I am a conversationalist, so networking, being around individuals it's my education. So I just call it like conversation is currency. That's kind of what I've always referred to it as. Like for me, it's like payment in the bank. Like that's how I learn. Obviously news and things like that are important to me as well. But non-traditionally, I think I've learned the most in my life from those conversations with unique individuals. And then I would just add, for those who are women also in the agency world, this upbringing on the agency side, not on the brand side, exposed me to so many companies and having to learn really quickly about the inner workings of how they function and how they make money and how they talk to consumers. Like I'm talking stuff from all the way from Lego to trucking business to waste management to and I'm sure a lot of people in the sort of advertising world will agree with me, is that it makes you able to kind of talk about anything, and it also makes you open to learning about things and giving you context from all these worlds. So one of the best things I got from my previous life is that education in everything. Honestly, the deep dives I've done into different aspects of tech, it's just enough to be dangerous. So I don't know enough about all of them, but enough to have that conversation propulsion and like food for thought and listening to all sorts of different aspects of, from people from different walks of life. So that's been really big for me. But again, it's all conversation and learning.
I love that. I love it. Question number 4, how do you win the day? What are your AM or PM rituals and habits that keep you feeling happy and motivated and successful?
I think I win the day when my kid doesn't wake me up before 7, because I would like to have my morning to myself, but normally they're screaming on the monitors and I've got to get them. So that's a joke, but that is when the true wins for me are, and I've talked about our team a lot, but the true wins for me are when we have small moments or big moments of celebration with the team in here. Like when we popped a bottle of champagne, I think Carrie almost hit me in the head with a cork, when we first launched, and we were just like crying and hugging each other, and just, we're very vulnerable people in our business. And so wins for me are people sharing their life experiences, us having a lot of laughter and engagement, and our team just feeling really good about what we're doing and proud of like small moments and big moments. That's how I'm motivated.
Question number 5 is, if you were given $1,000 of no strings attached grant money, where would you spend it in the business? Not a lot of money, but to show what's the most important spend of $1 for you.
Okay, I feel like I can answer this in 2 ways, because the most important spend of $1 for us right now is probably marketing. Customer acquisition is huge for us right now. Eventually, retailer small business acquisition would be important. So the rational business part of me is like, we would spend that on either, influencer marketing or Facebook ads, something pretty specific there, like targeted ad spend. The other part of me that's human wants to split that and bonus my employees for all the hard work they did over launch. Like we launched on Small Business Saturday, which was very apropos, but it was over American Thanksgiving. And so a lot of them, we were all up working late and hard. So my true gut is to split it and bonus the current employees we have.
That's amazing. And last question, how do you deal with failure? What's your mindset when things don't go to plan?
Yeah, I think if I'm being completely honest and transparent, my initial gut reaction is like a internal, partially external freak out, because that's just how I'm wired. But I'm very quick to adapt to problem solving. I can't stand inefficiencies. It's kind of my flaw, but also what keeps me working so quickly is like, I don't like talking in circles. I'm not a big fan of like wallowing in things and talking about those same things over and over when they're negative. So I generally have this moment of like, fuck. And I'm a little reactive in those moments. And likely the way that I would handle it in a business situation is Carrie and I going into another room and just kind of like saying everything we need to say out loud to each other to sort through it. But usually within 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, problem solve, and it's like, how can we work our way, use our superpowers to work through some of those challenges, use our contacts to work through some of those challenges. I do want to say though, that like how important those little failures are and those moments of reality checks, where not just in this business, but before, you think something's going to be like incredible. And then you get hit with a client who's just like, this doesn't work, or these ideas aren't working, or a show doesn't go off without a hitch, or, I'm a perfectionist, so it really hurts, which is why I have those strong reactions to things when they happen initially. But I don't like things sitting in the negative for a long time. And so I think just bucking up and working through those challenges become the biggest moments of learning. We've already had, in our few short months of, starting this product, we've already had so many of those oh shit moments. Our Facebook ads like turned off because our initial credit, like this is ridiculous, but like we're so new, our credit cards didn't know all these charges were for like Facebook ads. And so we got, basically they're like, we're not going to pay you anymore. And so all the ads that started performing were just like, then they just got pulled down and we had to start over. And so it's like those moments where we're just like, deep breath. Carrie writes on here, we all love Ted Lasso. So we have like Believe up in our office. And we've also got like a, deep breath, drink water thing up on our whiteboard, which is just like, this shit happens all the time when you're starting a business. So we've had a lot of those moments where we're like, in, out, not the end of the world. We're going to figure this out. So yeah, those moments become bonding too.
I need to write those. I need to write deep breath.
deep breath, drink water. Yeah, we were all like crazy. She wrote it on the board. Yeah, exactly.
Cara, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. I love what you're doing. I'm such a fangirl, and I think there are going to be so many people listening who are feeling the same, and I'm excited to see where you take this.
Thank you so much, June. This was great. It was great meeting you, and I really love those headphones. I think if I can do like a total shameless plug, because I want to just make sure that people know where to go and what to do. So if you're a small business and you're listening, go on the site and apply through our small business channel in there, and also just like reach out to us on Instagram. We're really trying to build that advisory board and, connect with the community. But most importantly, right now, if you're a consumer who wants to shop more consciously, just go to trygoodbuy.com, and it's BUY, and then you just click the install button. Be on your computer. So that's one thing I want to address. I know I'm never able to close a conversation, so I might as well do this. We obviously right now have a desktop Chrome browser extension. So you got to open your computer and you have to shop more intentionally on your computer to use Goodbuy right now. We will very shortly be coming out with a mobile hack for our search functionality. And then right after that, a mobile browser extension in the new year. So if you want to start engaging with Goodbuy, seeing how it works, desktop is the way. And then we'll do mobile later, because that's a lot of the feedback we get. So I just wanted to address it, because I know a lot of people will be like, well, shit, I'm shopping on my phone all the time. So it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming soon. We'll be waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Dude, you're awesome.